Hi and welcome to my Leftovers channel. I would love to promise you some nice, quiet Christmas time reading, but who am I kidding? Tonight we are checking out Goosebumps, so be sure to prepare yourself for some thrills, chills and scares. And if you don't have too many nightmares, I dare you to hit that subscribe button to be notified of new updates and episodes. So I really hope you enjoy this story, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Cheers. Don't sit on the Gronk. This doesn't work. Let me see it, Brad. My 15-year-old sister Kelly grabbed the Walkman I held in my hands and nearly yanked my head off. Whoa, wait a second. Let me take the earphones off first, I yelled. It was Christmas morning. Mum, Dad, Kelly and I sat in the living room around our tree opening presents. Mum and Dad bought me the Walkman, but it was definitely broken. No sound came out of the earphones. You plugged the earphones into the wrong jack. Kelly frowned at me. You should have checked the diagram on the box first. You're a total moron. I am not a moron, I yelled. Yes, you are. No, I'm not, I yelled even louder. Don't call your brother a moron. It's not nice, Mum scolded Kelly. I can't help it if the truth hurts, Kelly declared. That's enough, Dad warned her. I laughed. Dad turned to me. Don't laugh. Your sister is right. Huh? You should have looked at the diagram first, he said. Your father is right. You never take time to read instructions, Mum said. Okay, I mumbled. Everyone is right. I caught Kelly smirking at me as Dad picked up the last present under the tree. This one is for you, Brad. I reached out for the small box, wrapped in shiny red paper. I had already opened all my presents. Mum and Dad's should have been the last one. I checked the card on the box. It said to Brad, but it wasn't signed by anyone. Who's this from? I asked. No one knew. I ripped off the paper, opened the box and peeked inside. Oh, it's just a koosh ball. I'll take it. Kelly grabbed the box from me. Give that to me. It's mine. I grabbed the box back from her. I have about 100 koosh balls, but there was no way I was letting my stupid sister have anything of mine. I took the blue koosh ball out of the box. I wound up, ready to throw it at Kelly, but I stopped. Something felt different about this koosh ball. It felt warm. I stared down at it and gasped. Look, I cried, it's moving? We're not falling for one of your lame jokes, Brad, Kelly declared. I'm telling you, it's moving. I studied the ball. It was about the size and weight of a tennis ball. I stared at its blue rubbery strands. Oh, it's not moving, I realized. It's just strands quivering in my hand. That's what koosh balls do. I ran my hand over the strands. They parted and I saw round bumps underneath. Hey, look, this one is different. This must be a new model. You're boring me. Kelly got up and started to leave the room. I stared at the bumpy ball. Wait a minute, did I just see it move? I squinted at it. Yes, I did. It is moving, I shouted. It looks like it's breathing. Kelly came back into the room. She peered over my shoulder as I watched the ball, watched it move in and out, rising and falling, small movements, but definitely breathing. It's alive, I cried. Drop it, Kelly cried, backing away. It is alive. Drop it. Are you nuts? I gently sifted the rubbery strands through my fingers and the little ball let out a soft purring sound. This is too weird. Kelly backed away some more. Mum and Dad came over and stared at the ball in the palm of my hands. It definitely is moving, Mum said. It's some kind of creature, Dad said. I wonder what it is. He scratched his head. It's awesome. Can I keep it? Mum glanced at Dad, and Dad shrugged his shoulders. I don't see why not, Mum finally decided, as long as you take good care of it. Cool. I balanced the creature on top of all my other presents and ran up to my room. What are you? I sat on my bed and cradled the creature in my hand. I ran my fingers over its soft blue spikes and it let out a giggle. Whoa, this is amazing. I parted the strands and searched for the creature's eyes, its nose, its mouth, its ears. It didn't seem to have any, at least any that I could see. I have to call Roscoe and tell him about this, I thought. Roscoe is my best friend, and he has a pet hamster that he thinks is incredible. Ha! Wait till he sees this. I started to place the strange creature back in its box when I noticed an orange piece of paper on the bottom. I read it out loud. How to take care of your Gronk. So, that's what you are, I said to the little creature. You're a Gronk. I tossed the paper aside. I carefully placed the Gronk back in the box and went to the phone. When Roscoe heard about the Gronk, he came right over to see it. Wow, it is so cool, he said, staring at the creature in the box. Let's take it outside. I picked up the Gronk and we ran out to play. Let me have it, Roscoe shouted. I tossed the creature across my front yard to Roscoe. Hey, I think it likes this, Roscoe caught the creature. I think I just heard it laugh. It was pretty cold out, and I wondered if it was too chilly for the Gronk, but it didn't seem to mind the winter weather at all. Each time we tossed it, it let out a happy little giggle. Totally awesome. Roscoe threw the Gronk to me, high in the air, way over my head. Oh no! I faded back, and caught it. I let out a sigh of relief. The Gronk wiggled with delight. Its rubber spikes tickled the palms of my hand. Hey, you're right, I told Roscoe. It really does like this. We tossed the Gronk back and forth until I dropped it. No, I gasped as it tumbled out of my hand. I quickly dove and caught it before it hit the ground, but something was wrong. What happened? Roscoe jogged up to me. It got heavy, I stammered. I dropped it because I didn't expect it to feel so heavy. What do you mean? Roscoe asked. All of a sudden, it feels like it weighs more. I lifted the Gronk up and down in the palm of my hand. Yes, it's definitely heavier. Here, I passed the creature to Roscoe. What do you think? Roscoe took the Gronk from me and let out a cry. It's growing! No way! I grabbed the creature back from him and felt the Gronk's body pulsing in the palm of my hand, pulsing in and out with a steady rhythm, pulsing and growing. It is growing, I gasped. I watched in awe as the creature's rubbery tendrils wiggled in waves, wiggled and grew longer and longer. I stood totally still, watching the creature expand in my hands until it reached the size and weight of a bowling ball. Whoa, it's really heavy now. Feel it. I handed the Gronk over to Roscoe, but Roscoe backed off. The Gronk fell to the ground and bounced. Hey, cool, I cried. I caught the Gronk as it bounced up and dribbled it. The Gronk let out a loud chuckle. I passed it to Roscoe. Roscoe dribbled it and passed it back to me. The Gronk laughed some more. I bounced the Gronk up and down the driveway. The more I dribbled it, the higher it bounced. The more I dribbled it, the louder it laughed. This is amazing, I shouted as I headed toward the basket that hangs over our garage. I stepped up to the basket, I took a shot and scored as the Gronk swished through the hoop. It started to grow some more. Whoa, it's as big as a basketball now, I cried. We shot some hoops with the Gronk. We played a game of one-on-one. At the end of the game, I caught the creature and shook my head in disbelief. Roscoe, look, it's bigger. It's bigger than a basketball. Roscoe didn't know what to say. We took turns dribbling the Gronk down the block to Roscoe's house, and it continued to grow. I have to stop playing, Roscoe wheezed out of breath. That thing is too big, and I think it weighs as much as I do. I stared at the Gronk. It was as big as my huge beach ball, but it was way heavier. I bent down and tried to lift it, and I couldn't. It's kind of creepy. Roscoe gazed down at the Gronk. I think I'd better go in. It's getting late. He turned and hurried into his house. I stood behind the Gronk. I leaned over and tried to push it towards my house. It didn't budge. I placed both hands firmly against it and shoved. It slowly started to roll. Mum and Dad are not going to believe the size of this thing, I thought as I pushed the creature. I couldn't believe it either. Roscoe was right. It was kind of creepy. It took all my strength to roll the Gronk back home. Panting, I pushed harder. "I have to show you to Mum and Dad right away," I said, gazing down at the creature. "I have to show them how fast you're growing. Maybe they can figure out what's wrong with you." By the time I rolled the Gronk to the front door, I was totally out of breath. I opened the door. Then I leaned against the creature and shoved him inside. "Mum, Dad, take a look at this," I shouted. No one came into the room. "Mum? Dad?" I ran through the house searching for them. They were gone. I raced back into the living room. Oh no, the Gronk had grown even larger. I ran into Kelly's room. "Kelly, quick, you have to come with me." "Can't you see I'm on the phone?" she grumbled. "Please," I begged. "Get lost." I ran back into the living room. "What am I going to do with you?" I stared at the creature. "You're huge." With a loud grunt, I slowly rolled the Gronk into my bedroom. Then I collapsed on my bed. The Gronk let out a low purr and started growing again. "Wow," I shouted. "You're nearly as big as a chair." I jumped out of bed and sat on it. "Hey, you're actually pretty comfortable." I patted the Gronk like a beanbag chair. The Gronk quivered and giggled. I pushed myself back and sat deeper into the Gronk. The Gronk giggled again. I placed my hands behind my head. I leaned back and the Gronk rumbled and grew even more. Kelly walked by my room without even looking in. The Gronk continued to swell and it lifted me higher and higher and higher. "Stop," I yelled. "It's too much. Stop growing." The Gronk kept growing, expanding, taking up most of my bedroom floor. "Please stop," I shouted. "You're too big." The Gronk continued to grow. "Kelly? Kelly, help!" "What do you want?" Kelly's feet pattered down the hall. She turned into my doorway and shrieked. "Brad, what is that?" "It's the little creature." I rolled off the Gronk and fell to the floor, only it's not little anymore. I tried to stand, but the creature slapped me hard with one of its rubbery tendrils and knocked me down. Kelly reached out to me and pulled me toward the door. I squeezed against the Gronk's big body and finally crawled out into the hall. "What are we going to do?" I wailed. "It won't stop growing." Kelly glanced around my room. Her eyes stopped on the orange sheet of paper on my bed. She leaned against the Gronk, stretching for the paper, stretching until she could just grasp it. "Did you read this?" she demanded, holding up the orange sheet, the instructions that came with the Gronk. "No, I didn't," I admitted. The Gronk let out a low chuckle and swelled some more. "Let's get out of here." Kelly grabbed my arm and we ran down the hall. Thud, thud, thud. The Gronk bounced after us. "Read the instructions," I cried as we charged into the living room. Kelly's voice shook as she read and ran. The Gronk will make a delightful pet as long as you follow 3 simple rules." Thud, thud, thud. The Gronk rolled slowly toward the living room. "Hurry, Kelly, read," I shouted, backing into the corner of the room. "Rule number 1, she read fast. "The Gronk will keep its tiny size as long as you keep it indoors. Never take it outside or it will start to grow rapidly." "Oh no," I moaned. Thud, thud, thud. The Gronk's bounces grew louder. "Read," I cried. "Finish the rules." Kelly glanced nervously at the living room doorway. The orange paper trembled in her shaking hands. "Rule number 2, never use it as a ball because that will make it grow even more playful than it already is." "Too late," I cried. "It's too late for that. Keep reading." "Rule number 3, never sit on the Gronk because—" "Look out, Brad!" Kelly shrieked and jumped up on the couch. The Gronk burst into the room. It bounced fast now. It rolled up to me. It cornered me. It started to move in. "Why shouldn't you sit on it?" I cried. "Finish the sentence. Finish it." "Never sit on the Gronk," Kelly read, her voice quivering. "Ow!" I cried as the Gronk pushed me against the wall. "Read, Kelly, read!" I was down on the floor. The Gronk rose up over me. "Never sit on the Gronk," Kelly started again, "because then it will want to sit on you." Splat. Hi, I am so glad you made it to the end of the story. Congratulations! If you would like to hear about any new stories or any new videos from the Leftovers channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell icon just so we can keep bugging you. We have a distinctly 90s flavour here. We look at video games, toys, books, Lego sets, and we do have a lot of fun, so I'd love for you guys to come back. So stay tuned for some more leftover culture. Thank you for watching.